It's high noon. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for a rare modern video, and today the CEO of ETBs has asked me to build around the card High Noon. And this is the deck list that they originally sent me. So High Noon is 1 and a white for a sort of deafening silence effect. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. But later on in the game, it can turn into a win condition. For 5 mana, 4 and a red, you can sacrifice it to deal 5 damage to any target. So this could just be directly to your opponent's face to finish off the game, or it could be creature removal a little bit later on in the game. Now, the original deck list that I was sent was what I would consider a hot mess, in the most respectful way possible, because it's trying to do too many things. This deck is trying to have an enchantment sub-theme to draw a bunch of cards with Sythis, and it wants Sanctum Weaver to... Hold on, what are we doing with all of that mana? We don't actually have a good payoff for all of this mana, because the things that are more expensive in this deck should be costing 1 mana as this game goes on. And this deck is also trying to be an Isochron Scepter combo deck list, with the idea that you can go and Orbs chant your opponent so that they can no longer cast spells, or that you can potentially just counter all the creatures that they're going to play. But the instant and sorcery count is very low for Isochron Scepter, and every instant and sorcery that we have isn't triggering Sythis, and there's no redundancy for Sythis. I messaged our good CEO here, and I'm like, all right, boss. What do we need to do? Because there's too much going on with this deck list. It's being pulled in too many different directions. And without enough support for one of the primary plans, I think we were just going to get slaughtered. And then we reworked it and ended up with this instead, which I think is going to be much, much better. So we still have Sythis as a primary plan, but we are going to get Sterling Grove to protect our enchantments now, as well as serve as a bit of an enchantment tutor. Enchantress's Presence can be our way to have redundancy with Sythis, and then we're going to have some enchantment-related win conditions. We can just activate a Destiny Spinner to make lands into giant elemental creature tokens, or we can use Hallowed Haunting, which is a card I've never played before. As long as you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a white spirit cleric creature token with power and toughness equal to the number of spirits you control. So this is the next card in a long line of effects of this general nature that pay you off for casting enchantments. And in this deck list, where we do have things like Enchantress's Presence and Hallowed Haunting that cost a little bit more, the Sanctum Weaver does make sense and probably pays off pretty well. So this is the deck list exactly as it was submitted to me. I don't know that we get to get away with 2 copies of Hall of Heliod's Generosity. This is something that I really only want in a game that has gone particularly long. This is going to be very, very bad in the early game. I think I'm going to go ahead and trim one of those. I probably want more access to turn 1 green mana. I might pick up 1 Temple Garden. We have 1 Surveil land already. Let's pick up 1 more Temple Garden. Actually, do I want another fetch land that just hits Xander's Lounge? Windswept Heath does not hit Xander's Lounge, so maybe I just pick up 1 more Wooded Foothills here. I guess I could take 1 Arid Mesa. I could take 1 Arid Mesa. The basic plains matters a decent portion of the time. Otherwise, I think I like what's here well enough to go ahead and leave this okay. I am not an expert in Modern, as you all know. I play this format relatively rarely, so I don't know how to configure this sideboard for the exact metagame that we should be expecting. Solemnity is, I imagine, there so that players can't get energy counters, as energy stuff is all over the metagame. So with that being said, let's see how this plays in action. Should you need your Hallowed Hauntings or any other Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, toamagic.com. You always get free shipping with them, no matter where you are. And promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. Need some sweet jumpstart cards with anime art? Check them out. Let's go play Enchantress. Oh god, okay. My opponent has revealed a Gigantha and started the game with 2 copies of Leyline of the Guild Pact in play. So we should expecting Scion of Draco from our opponent. And, oh right, we are going aggro over there. Actual factual fucking wild Nakatl. So my start was solid, but a little bit slow. So like there is a real chance that I just get run over by my opponent's aggro cards before I get established in this game. The leyline here is making it so that my opponent's lands just instantly grow the Nakatls to 3/3s. So I don't have my next land drop. The way that I get more mana to play multiple things is resolving Sanctum Weaver. I need to get to 4 mana to play this and then generate a bunch of blockers. That's the thing that needs to happen in order to win this game. I, in theory, want to play Sythis on turn 2 just about every time, but I think Sanctum Weaver potentially allows me to go more bananas next turn. It also may be the illusion of choice. I don't know what removal my opponent is going to be running. Like, I don't know if it's Path, I don't know if it's Lightning Bolt, I don't know if it's Tribal Flames, but whatever removal that my opponent theoretically has, it probably kills a Sanctum Weaver. They do not need more ley lines. I am eating 6 in combat here. Going to 11. Arena of Glory is quite scary. High Noon. I need to be able to cast multiple spells right now. So I think we are going Sythis immediately, which is an enchantment. So I can tap this for 2 mana. We will go double green to play another Sanctum Weaver, which is going to give me a life. Okay. That is almost very good. I'm going to go ahead and pass. I think some portion of the time I take an ungodly amount of damage here. Just a tapped land. And I think I am just taking all 6 here. I think I want these multiple creatures. High Noon's going to be a little awkward. There's a Tribal Flames. Am I dead to Bolt? Not immediately. That's nice. Let's go green. Utopia Sprawl on Temple Garden. Gain some life. Make some bonus white mana with this. We will Hallowed Haunting, leaving a white floating, and potentially Path. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to have 6 mana. Color split's a little awkward. I think I should have left a green floating. I think that was an objective mistake. Maybe I just need to vomit more things into play. What if I do Enchantress's Presence? Up to 4. Get a friend. Do I even need to path these anymore? Maybe I don't need to path these anymore. I might still do it, but we're gonna do some more stuff here. So if I shock myself, I can do another thing. I don't think I need to do another thing this turn. I think we can just path a wild Nakatl. A little awkward if my opponent just Tribal Flames me. Stubborn Denial. Okay. I was not expecting that. I think I just want more green mana next turn rather than Xander's Lounge for more colors. My creatures now have Flying and Vigilance, which means that Sythis can crash in. Let's see if I'm dead to another Tribal Flames. If not, I am going to just go bananas. Haste. Fuck. Oh wait. These fly. This is fine. Hexproof, Lifelink, Trample though. Fuck. Block. I want all my Sanctum Weavers, I think. Block. Take 3, 4, go back to 1. And then just shit enough creatures into play that I don't have to worry about direct combat damage from here. That seems reasonable. I think the very first thing that I do, put the other Hallowed Haunting into play, because now I'm going to spiral 2 enchantments for each one of these. And I think I don't have to be too careful about colors at this point. These things are going to be huge. I'm probably going to draw through an absolutely massive portion of my deck here. So big. Yep. Sure. So can't fetch. I make like red-white with these. If I want to do high noon sacrifice kill nonsense, I think my stuff is just bigger. So I think I will just make green, white, and assume that it works out. Actually, I can play a forest and then make white with one of these and go green, white, and just absolutely rip through my deck. Leyline Binding is interesting. I've already played a land. I don't get to do the Xander's Lounge, make everything super cheap. I don't know that that really matters. We can just do this inefficiently. It's still just making so many friends. I want to find another Sythis and then gain some life. Binding away one of these. I guess I could Sterling Grove and fix it. Fire's a little awkward. I can Boseiju this other one away. Let's just do that now. Because then I can start targeting other things in a meaningful way. So, play Sterling Grove. We'll put some draws on the stack. I will sacrifice a Sterling Grove. Let's go get a Sythis. Is Destiny Spinner just going to be lethal? No, I don't have untapped lands. Yeah, so get a Sythis. And then we'll draw a bunch of cards. There's a Destiny Spinner as well. Let's just always yield to this at this point. Drop Sythis. I will somewhat passively need to keep an eye on the number of cards in my own deck. I think once I am at, 6 or more life, it doesn't matter anymore. So the high noons are a little awkward in that they kind of stop me from doing my combo thing, but like scoreboard, we had like a dozen 13-13s in play, so it's probably fine. Now that I'm looking at the sideboard and analyzing it, I'm not exactly sure why we're playing Wrath of the Skies. This has a lot of backlash. Our game 1 deck might just be relatively well set up to deal with what my opponent is doing. I could play Prismatic Ending over Seal of Fire to just have something that kills early creatures that are played out. Seal of Fire cantrips, Prismatic Ending doesn't. Seal of Fire is red, which is an awkward tertiary color. Let's make that small adjustment. I think we have proof of concept for this deck, though. Like, we'll probably find a bunch of things to smooth out over the course of this league, but we went from a terrible board state to a relatively easy win. I am fine keeping this. Like, we have Leyline Binding with Xander's Lounge and the other 2 colors available, and I can probably just get this out of play early. It makes it slightly awkward for me because Xander's Lounge does not tap for Sterling Grove, obviously. So, like, I make a turn 1 choice about whether or not I am trying to make Leyline Binding cheaper or whether or not I'm trying to just jam Sterling Grove as quickly as possible to protect my enchantments from removal. And I think I know where I stand on that one. I don't know this one. Ishoba Brawler. Power equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. Okay, got it. I think I am okay just taking that out while my opponent is tapped out and can't counter my thing. And then we'll just work towards Hallowed Haunting. Hallowed Haunting. Sure. Nice. Let's go, yeah. I think we are fine with the 1-mana Leyline Binding. Take this out. Might get a counter spell. 13. That is a Stubborn Denial. Sure, so this stuff doesn't produce white, so I actually don't get to try again immediately, since I played Forest specifically. There's a little awkwardness there. You know, this is what happens if you play Xander's Lounge to make Leyline Binding cost 1. I get punished for 5 damage. I don't know how bad that actually is, though. Like, it's obviously a relevant amount of life, but the stuff that I've got going on here is pretty strong. All right, so that is just a 4/4 creature right now that might get stronger in a minute. This one tramples. This one does not currently trample. This creature gets a lot scarier in a minute if I leave this around and then my opponent casts a Leyline. Trample matters so much more than anything else right now, though, in the short term. Slightly afraid of more counter magic like this. Seems like my opponent has a counterspell and is then just wondering whether or not countering this path is worth it and decides not to. I will just be jamming a win condition here. I believe that I am in make them have it territory with this. It is another Stubborn Denial. And then a Leyline Binding, so they can Leyline Binding my Leyline Binding to get their creature back and hit me for 9. That's horrifying. I think I get out aggroed here. Oh, am I dead to Tribal Flames? No, it's Gigantha to hand. Oh gosh, that's so many creatures. Now I have to deal with or otherwise answer 2 of these, which I am not currently equipped to do. Sure. I can mess around with Wrath of the Skies when I'm on the play specifically, because I can use it to help answer Wild Nicottles if they are played out in multiples. But like once we start doing this as a 4 mana answer 2 things, I start blowing up a lot of my own stuff in a way that I don't like. This basic mountain pretty much makes his hand unkeepable, unfortunately. This is slow. I probably keep it. So this gets the Grixis land. These 2 things make Leyline Binding cheap. Might need some flexibility in what land this is, so I think I'm going to throw back basic forest. And we'll play this one and pass. Just kind of assuming that we are always going for the Triome or whatever it's called. We've got the fetch, which probably means that we're not just getting a Wild Nicottle on 1. Oh yeah, Ragavan's just fucking legal in this format. Sure. Fetch. Ender's Lounge. Am I taking 2 for Temple Garden here? To keep flexibility for Windswept Heath? I think I am. I'll go to 17. And because there are counter spells in my opponent's deck, I think I just operate at sorcery speed, even though this has flash. The whole High Noon Enchantress's Presence Sanctum Weaver thing is a touch awkward here. My opponent is very good at playing 1 spell per turn cycle. New fetch land. 14. Territorial Kavu. So what does this one do on hit again? No, it's on attack. Loot or exile a card from a graveyard. Those are both fine. Alright, Moto, let's go. Cool. I think we're going Enchantress's Presence this turn. Like, I can play Sanctum Weaver and then potentially have bigger mana next turn. I don't know that the bigger mana matters immediately if I can't just vomit multiple cards. My own High Noon might end up being a little bit awkward here. Over the course of a couple of turns, it might be good. I don't know if I'm going to get those couple of turns, though. Leyline Binding. That's very, very good, obviously. Then a Scion of Draco. I'm getting whacked for 5, and my opponent gets to loot through their bad stuff. They got rid of a creature. Sythis is perfectly reasonable. I am worried about just fucking dying, though. I don't think I have time for High Noon. I think I just need to do this cantrip and then hope that things go well. But I can very, very easily just die this turn. Like, this has trample. I'm not chump blocking it. I don't really know that I can afford to chump block anyway. My opponent just gets to loot towards Tribal Flames. Alright, I'm taking it. And then we have to hope that Sythis plus Sanctum Weaver does some cool stuff. I'm dead to any Bolt caliber card or better. That is a Wear Terror. Very, very, very good here. Am I dead? Technically, no. Effectively, yes, I think. So this flies innately. So as right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not enough to High Noon and kill something. I can path something. I can't draw another card. This is the point where I am dead. GG's. Game 1 was great, but then we just got run over. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Just the best place to host your deck lists online, just full period. It is. And I can say lots of nice things about them, or I can just show you that I have 328 deck lists on this site, and I think that's about the best endorsement that I can give them. So I have some awkwardness with this opening hand. I don't really have a plan. So I turn 1 Stomping Ground, Utopia Sprawl, name white, so that I have access to all my colors. On turn 2, I have 3 mana, and we just kind of hope that High Noon does something meaningful. I could see mulliganing this one to try and make sure we start off with one of Enchantress's Presence or Sythis. But I'm going to try keeping this. So play, shock, Utopia Sprawl, name white, pass. I do not know what that means. But I'm going to cast High Noon and hope that it beats my opponent. Because I need one of High Noon or a pile of removal spells to beat my opponent. Surely this is some sort of no good, like, Belcher Oops All Spells deck, right? Thunderclap Trainer, sure. Well, there are spells in my opponent's deck. Disrupting Shoal. Okay. Land drop. Do I care? I'll just path later. I'll take one. Maybe we path something better than this. I guess I could have cast a High Noon, but I would kind of like to keep things around for a little while. Okay, so the whole plan here is dudes that cantrip. Sure. No basics. Opponent mills some. I'm gonna have to read so many cards here. Okay. What does this do? So when you return something to hand, draw a card, return a land. Sure. My opponent picks up War of Invention. Alright. Got it. Okay, Goblin Charbelcher. Understood. So now we'll play an Enchantress's Presence, which might get countered by something like a Disrupting Shoal. Sink into Stupor. Okay. That's sort of unfortunate. So I guess I will just path this so that I'm not taking any chip damage. Flare of Denial. Okay, so the bonus blue bodies are relevant. Well, I don't super care about this, but I might need to take it out so that I shut off Flare of Denial sometimes, which is fine, I guess. I think I will go ahead and just cast a second High Noon here, potentially with the intention of starting to throw these at face or to take out creatures so that Flare of Denial turns off. This is kind of why I was considering mulliganing this opening hand, because I need something to get going here. So I'll pass turn with intention of High Nooning my opponent's face. Whir of Invention. I don't know what we're getting for 0. Oh, that's cute. How much do you cost currently? You currently cost 3. This does not get my Grixis thingy. So I can't go junk this and High Noon. I think I do junk that. I think that just successfully takes Flare of Denial out of hand. It doesn't. So let's just not. Let's just not. I don't want Goblin Charbelcher activate in the same turn cycle to be a thing. The Flare of Denial is now awkward. Like, I know that's there, protecting my opponent's win. Lush Portico. Prevail. Do not want Forest. Just in case you weren't around in these days, Goblin Charbelcher, for 3 and tapping it, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. It deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target. If you reveal a mountain, it does double damage, and the idea is you play this in a deck that does not have access to any real lands. And we draw the Sythis a little bit too late, so my opponent activates this, and I end up dying, unfortunately. I can't burn my opponent out with High Noon. I don't have any redraws here. We're dead. So Goblin Charbelcher targets me, right? Target player? Yes, it does. So I can Leyline of Sanctity to help out with this. Steel Fires don't seem particularly great here. Wrath of the Skies for 0 could get rid of Lotus Bloom. Don't know that that's very exciting. These Path to Exiles are also, like, not super exciting. I'm not, like, hyper concerned about killing otters. I guess Roiling Vortex is sort of interesting against my opponent's free counterspells. I could mess around with some of this sort of stuff. I'm not hyper excited about it. I don't really have a plan to win here. And I think I need one. If I fart around, I just get Charbelchered. Yes. I get rid of land 3 if I have Sanctum Weaver. I do need to hit more land drops. I think I'm going to get rid of Sterling Grove. I already have a couple of things here that can cantrip with Sythis. So let's just get our tapped land out of the way. Suspended Lotus Bloom. Sythis is great. I, in theory, want to play Sythis before my enchantments. And since I have 2 copies of Sythis, if my opponent has a free counterspell, I wouldn't mind Sythis being the thing that eats one of those rather than the Roiling Vortex. It's just a little awkward because I want Roiling Vortex in play ASAP. There is a Shock. There is an Otter. Flare of Denial. Yeah, so now this can counter whatever I do next. So we'll Utopia Sprawl here. Leyline Binding. Probably name White. I think we're going Sanctum Weaver here. That was not good enough for a counterspell from my opponent. So my Leyline Bindings cost too much right now. I'll just pass the turn, and I might just like lose this one for not roiling Vortex on turn 2 before Flare of Denial comes online. Enchantress's Presence. That might be good enough to get my opponent to bite. Alternatively, I use Roiling Vortex as bait, but I think I like this. Alright, we've got another land. I guess I can always just play Leyline Binding, right? So this is currently 3 mana. I can just play this as 3 mana, shut off the ability to pitch cast this while drawing 2 cards. That's not the end of the world. Take that out. Now we'll throw down the Roiling Vortex, which maybe resolves. Leyline is cool. Spell Snare. So I wish I had waited to play this, because this one gets me my Grixis thingy. Dander's Lounge. Not that I have the mana to Leyline Binding afterwards. So if my opponent goes land, Charbelcher, Lotus Bloom, activate, I am dead. If I make it to my turn, I can probably just play multiple Leyline of Sanctities and be safe for the rest of the game. Fuck yeah. Never punished, I get to Lush Portico, Scry. Love it. Yeah. Or Surveil, excuse me. We can junk that. All of Heliod's Generosity. So Flare of Denial is online. Let's just kind of assume that I have to cast multiple of these for it to be relevant. I draw. There's the Flare of Denial that I knew about. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think I'll make my land drop yet. I will play another one of these, which hopefully resolves. Okay, so my opponent cannot beat Leyline of Sanctity, apparently. That's really good information, seeing as I do have the capability of beginning the game with that in play. I wonder if Path to Exile is bad enough that I just play another enchantment that can cantrip off Sythis and friends. Rest in Peace also has some very, very, very minor text versus my opponent. Sure, this is fine. Roiling Vortex is, in theory, a lot of damage versus this opponent. I can do it on turn 2. I do have to Utopia Sprawl on red, which is, like, not the best. But it's happening. What is the backside of this? Tap creatures, make energy, stun creatures. Got it. 18, Utopia Sprawl, target, red, pass. 17, just passing. So let's make green Utopia Sprawl here. Name white with the second one. Name green with the second one. Maybe name green with the second one. I think I am attempting to resolve a High Noon first and see if that baits out some interaction from my opponent. I don't really want the High Noon in play. Fuck yeah, that's what I want. So now hopefully I will then like play Sterling Grove and Roiling Vortex on my turn. And hopefully that's good. Whir of Invention. Got it. Jam Leyline. Opponent is tapped out. I think I'm gonna jam. Oh, nice, it just worked. Love that for me. Let's say no to Leyline Binding. I'd rather find like an Enchantress effect here. So then we'll just give Sterling Grove. Sorry, we'll use Sterling Grove to give my Leyline hexproof. And then we're just good to go from there. I probably use this as bait. So Vortex, then Sterling Grove, Flare of Denial. That costs my opponent 5 life. I will jam the High Noon with the intention of throwing it at my opponent's face in the not too distant future. White, white, green, green, have red. Probably doesn't matter too much what I pick then. My opponent can Whir of Invention to get their Lotus. Oh, they've already cast a spell this turn. They let my High Noon resolve. So they should have done Whir with it on the stack. I'll take 1. Yeah. I wish I could play and crack this immediately in the same turn cycle, but I can't. I'm 1 mana short. So there's the Whir. There's the Lotus Bloom. Opponent takes 1. I have lethal in play with double High Noon. Archaeologist is fine. Any of these things bounce? Nope. Tapped land and pass. So I'll go to 14. Land drop pass. So my opponent needs to win the game on this turn, and they also need to do it without casting a free spell. As if they cast a free spell, I will finish them with Roiling Vortex, or sorry, High Noon resolves. Oh, this doesn't tap. This can be activated immediately. My opponent can now return Lotus Bloom to generate some mana. They could then do this again, but they're not drawing additional cards. I don't think I have to mess with that. Tapped land. So High Noon, target your face, like so, and I'll fetch, pick up the Xander's Lounge. I'll take 1. Then I'm just going to sack the other High Noon to kill my opponent. Yep. High Noon, target you. This locks my opponent. Sorry, unlocks my opponent. They could cast multiple spells in theory. But we get there. I am happy with that win, considering I had no idea what my opponent was playing. I am a little slow to get started here. I am going to hope that that's fine. I'm going to go with tapped Sacred Foundry on 1. I can play and activate Seal of Fire if I need to remove a creature on turn 2. Otherwise, I'm going to hope that I can just wait another turn cycle and draw an extra card off Enchantress's Presence. And hopefully I don't get punished for that. I don't know enough about what Marsh Flats represents in this format to know, like, oh, you have to do this, or, you know, Stoneforge Mystic is going to get you on turn 2. But, like, given how many different lands I have here. Bitter Reunion. Okay. The opponent might be doing some unfair graveyard-oriented stuff. Or this is being played primarily for the haste side. I'm going to assume that this is graveyard or, like, madness-oriented nonsense. Let's drop the Enchantress's Presence. As of next turn, I can have 1 mana Leyline Binding if I use this to get Xander's Lounge. 3rd land drop. What are we doing? Prismatic Ending. Well, that's awfully rude. It's also just like not giving me information about what you're doing, and I kind of need that information. Let's assume that High Noon is maybe an okay thing to play. Surveil land? Play a card. I need something. I don't know whether or not the haste side is relevant. I'm just going to let the Thoughtseize resolve accordingly. But now it's less important for me to get Xander's Lounge, so this could instead get my own Surveil land, and I think it will. Fetch, Lush Portico. All of Heliod's Generosity is incredibly slow. I would rather find like a Sythis or an Enchantress's Presence or a Hallowed Haunting. Now, slightly awkwardly, my own High Noon does mean that I can't immediately play Seal of Fire, because this is symmetrical. So my Hallowed Haunting is not going to go as wild as it possibly could. I have no idea what to expect from my opponent over there. Like, I haven't seen any energy nonsense. All I've seen is like pseudo-controlling cards. What the fuck? Alright. I just answer Kalia with High Noon. Oh fuck, I don't. Alright, well, my High Noon making me not be able to put Seal Fire into play to kill Kalia is really annoying. Alright, so there's Goryo's Vengeance in here. This is just tapped and attacking, so this is just sticking around. My opponent can now pick up an Ephemerate or the Atraxa as well. So I can answer Kalia with Seal of Fire, but it might not be correct to. I might want to just Hallowed Haunting again and build towards a future where I can just keep chumping these. Yeah, my own High Noon is biting me in the ass here. Alright, always yield. And the next turn, I can play Seal of Fire, answer Kalia, while creating 2 turns worth of chump blockers for Atraxa. But my opponent is going to have just an absolute ton of agency in sculpting this game with like Ephemerates and stuff from here. Yeah, with better format knowledge, I think I can win this game. But this, I'm assuming that this is kind of an off the walls crazy person deck. Okay, so I take 9, go to 1. I need to answer Flage. I mean, yeah. Fucking Ephemerate beats me though. So Seal of Fire. Oh, holy shit, are you gonna target? Oh no, 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 I can't path in response. Fuck. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God damn it. With one more mana, I can sack High Noon and still path. That's frustrating. Okay. I was surprisingly close to stabilizing there. Alright, so rest in peace as text. Seal of Fire is, in theory, good against Kalia. I think in theory, I'm not sure how good it actually is in practice. Do I just board out my High Noons here? Like, I could board out my High Noons, play Solemnity, so the One Ring can't get counters on it? Yeah, maybe. I could also, like, Leyline so that I can't be hit by Thoughtseize effects. But I, in theory, should be redundant enough that Thoughtseize doesn't actually bother me. We'll just fetch land pass. So it's my intention to just surveil land with this. Opponent might be starting this game at a low life total. They are. I presumably lose one. Well, I know. I guess if they can't stop Sythis, then I just lose like Sterling Grove. And we'll grab Lush Portico. I don't need that land. I could play this first. I would like to use it to trigger Sythis in theory. I guess I will just play one of the 2 copies of Sythis. My opponent might just Prismatic Ending this one away. Seems likely. Yes. So now, I think I care enough about my red mana that since I don't have any access to that, I will pick up Stomping Ground here. Yeah. Sythis, Utopia Sprawl here. Green. Draw a card. Rest in Peace is fine. Name white. Pass turn. And next turn I can maybe like Rest in Peace plus Sanctum Weaver. Boo. I do lose the rip. And then Bitter Reunion. Emperor of Bones is in there. Okay. That makes sense. The extra Sythis is not really exciting. Let's just cycle. 4 mana to play Kalia. They don't have mana to give Kalia haste beyond that. So I think I'm just going to go green-white here. Cycle a Sythis for a different card. Yeah, that's fine. Keep this one. Play land drop. Attack for 1. I don't need to do that much damage to kill my opponent. Arena of Glory is horrifying here. It is the One Ring. This costs 3 mana currently. So that's happening, but I can Leyline Binding it on my own turn. Cool. So 1, 2, 3. Leyline Binding. Turn it into a different card. Junk the One Ring. I think this is where I just tap this. Let's make a bunch of green. Utopia Sprawl here. Get another card. It is a Destiny Spinner. Name green. Play Destiny Spinner. Path is not great. I can't deal damage this turn because of the One Ring. I have white-white. I don't have white-white over multiple phases. I don't know that that matters. I'm going to just pay some extra life here. Put some fear in my opponent. So Sanctum Weaver taps for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. More Bitter Reunion is in theory fine. Junking a land. My opponent has discarded me. Good choice. I am garbage. Send me to the graveyard. Cool. Make mana. Make green mana specifically. Destiny Spinner. Target a plains. Like so. There's 4 to do. Destiny Spinner. Target a not white land. Make a friend. Swing in for lethal with Destiny Spinner. Good creatures very, very well covered that time. And I think we're just running it back. Yeah, I like the tools at my disposal here. While I would love to have a way to cantrip, I think this is too good to throw back. We have a Seal of Fire that we can use to take out some early creatures like a Kalia or an Emperor of Bones. Rest in Peace on turn 2. Oh, nice. I also have access to Sythis. I'm okay starting this game at 17 life. Go Stomping Ground. And just begin with Seal of Fire in play. Okay, cool. I think I just cut off the graveyard here. Can these be regular lands at this point? These might be able to be regular lands at this point rather than dual lands. Nah. I care about white and potentially green. So let's nuke the yards and pass. Tear. Inconvenient. Hate that. I guess it means that I'm keeping Sythis, so like that's something. Alright, good. Opponent did not randomly just mise a large creature. Third land drop and pass. I guess I'll play Sythis. I think whatever I play probably just eats a removal spell. I would like to play Sythis into Hallowed Haunting next turn. I think I'm going to use Destiny Spinner #1 as bait. Try to surveil into another land, and then play Sythis immediately into a new Destiny Spinner next turn. I don't know, maybe I just have to hold up a couple of mana because Arena of Glory is a thing that exists, and Hasty Kalia dropping Atraxa. No, I don't have to worry about Hasty Kalia, I have Seal. No, this is fine then. Lage randomly hits the graveyard with almost enough fuel to bring it back. Thoughtseize is annoying. Like, I have two very, very primo cards here, and Leyline Binding is no slouch either. Oh, that's unexpected. Sure. So, fetch, Lush Portico. Sterling Grove is great. Because, like, Flage can be something that answers Sythis. Do I just need to play Sythis anyway? I don't know, maybe just hitting my next land drop to play Hallowed Haunting is better than this. So I could play Solemnity this turn. The One Ring can't come down and do things. I think I want to try to get Sythis into play, though. Like, drawing the first card off of these is so important. But we're hoping to dodge a land, which did not happen. I think I'm just going to end up being a little bit too slow here. So I lose my Sythis, and then I'm going to get domed for 9. I can answer the Flage afterwards, but, like, that's a very, very large swing in life total. That means that I can't really do some of the things that I otherwise would like to be doing with my mana. Like, I'm not dropping Hallowed Haunting to get, you know, spiraling card advantage going. I'm not playing Solemnity to stop the One Ring from drawing cards. This is not great. My opponent goes a turn without 4 mana due to exerting Arena of Glory last turn. Ugh, this is so awkward. I am just stuck on mana here. I think there's a good chance my opponent has a copy of the One Ring. I am going to play Solemnity accordingly. Like, they have to have something. Like, they might have creature-based interaction, or they could just have things that were not castable on 3 mana last turn. Or things like Kalia that they just don't want to play into active Seal of Fire. It's haste. It's Kalia. I'm going to kill that. Yeah. My opponent might be planning on bringing it back from the graveyard, or they're just trying to trade with Seal of Fire. So, that is at least a good draw. So now I can play Sythis, play Seal of Fire to hedge against Kalia coming back, while potentially getting more land. Well, that last part didn't happen, but now I at least cover Kalia coming back. 4th land drop, no immediate play from my opponent. Cool. So Utopia Sprawl on Lush Portico. I shouldn't need red mana in theory. Enchantress's Presence, not bad. Given the number of white symbols I have, I'm going to choose white. I think I need Sanctum Weaver to just absolutely go nuts here. That is just adding so much mana next turn. So there is a land drop. I am not attacking with Sythis. My opponent has lands in their deck that give haste. I think I want the capability of having creatures that can jump block, because I am so close to turning the corner on this game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12-ish mana next turn. Emphasis on ish, because Sanctum Weaver can change a little bit. Yes, Goryo's Vengeance is fine. So I can Seal of Fire this. My opponent, in theory, can have Ephemerate to mess with what I can do here. I give them another draw towards that. I guess I do this in beginning of combat because things like Emperor of Bones also exist. So Seal of Fire, the Kalia. Yeah, so that is Ephemerate. So doesn't have haste anymore. Not attacking. Do I just use Seal of Fire? Like, do I Hall of Heliod's Generosity Seal of Fire back on top of my deck. That's probably fine. I don't think it is exciting or sexy, but it's hopefully fine. So I'll draw that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think let's go white. Play this immediately. Ooh, nice. So let's cast that. Start making some chump blockers. Very nice. Nuke the yard. Play Seal of Fire now, which in theory answers Kalia. Make land drop. Pass turn. We can do Seal of Nonsense. Seal of Nonsense. Seal of Fire Nonsense a little bit later. For similar reasons as before, we can intend on taking out Kalia in the beginning of combat step. Now, my Hall does not get Seal of Fire back again, so if my opponent ephemerates to save it again, I will have to just physically draw a new out to it. Take out Kalia. Okay, it is a new ephemerate. This is a lot less threatening than it was last turn, though, because now I can hopefully just bury my opponent in raw cards. Let's just use this as a colorless source. So go 1, 2. Actually, let's do this. 3, 4. Let's get this into play as quickly as possible. These spirits are going to go wild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's go lots of white, 1 green, Enchantress's Presence. Make friends. I might just kill my opponent this turn outright. So now I'm good with this. Triggers. So many triggers. All right, we gotta start just auto yielding to some of this nonsense. So now I already have a Solemnity in play. I will cast an Enchantress's Presence then. Okay, my opponent is done with me. I was a little skeptical of this card when I first saw it in the deck tech, but this pops off surprisingly hard and quickly. That was a really cool match. Okay, with no white land here, I don't think this one quite works out. Ooh, 1 lander. I think this is risky. I would rather keep a mediocre 2 land hand. Enchant forest, not forest, tilt. I'm on 5. This is, like, quite good, though. Oh, I'm on 4. Well, there's still a clear plan, but I thought I was going to get to keep a win condition beyond this as well, and I don't. Let's grab a basic forest. Utopia Sprawl white, and hope we don't get Thought Seized. If I don't get Thought Seized, and I can just, like, stick Enchantress's Presence, I don't need to draw that, luckily, to have a respectable game. Bobble. And a Delta. Well, I guess this can get countered, too. That would also be annoying. I think I am going to go for white. Maybe I need to turn this into a red-producing land so that Leyline Binding is at least castable. Yeah. Presence, please don't counter. We're in play, so we'll see what happens here. It's a Surveil land. And Thought Scour. Okay, so we are on some sort of self-mill, maybe like Murktide Regent, Psychic Frog, Aberrant, Oculus, I think is what the blue thing is called. Or no, there's not blue. FOMO. Alright. Discard, then draw. When it attacks, if there are 4 more card types in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Oh, that kind of fucks. Sure. We're just doing this to cantrip here. Another Leyline Binding. Not bad. Extra combat steps just for free with Delirium is really cool. Yeah, this thing. I thought that was blue. Better than I remembered. Sure. I guess leave green around and Leyline Binding again. Not leave open red to Seal of Fire this. I guess considering, I don't know, like hitting Utopia Sprawls and playing Utopia Sprawls for 1 green does matter a lot. I guess I have a couple of Path to Exiles that could make the argument for leaving up Sacred Foundry. Our mulligan to 4 is playing real Magic, though. And I am very, very, very happy about that. I have Rest in Peace in post-sideboard game that will probably help out a lot. I think this deck is playing like Unearths and stuff to bring back inexpensive creatures. Arena of Glory. There's another Fear of Missing Out. That's a 2/3, which is inconvenient for me. 3 card types in graveyard. That's an Unearth. Sure. This is like definitely scary. My opponent gets to manifest Dread. Okay. I would love to hit a fetch land to make this cost 1 mana. So I'm going to start on Seal of Fire, take a redraw. That is a Temple Garden. That is not what I'm looking for. So we'll 3 mana, draw a card. Enchantress's Presence is not what I am looking for. Guess I'm taking out the Oculus. Just doesn't feel good. And then I nuke one of these creatures at beginning of combat, probably, rather than immediately. Although I guess they could be mana, like, turn face up. In which case, let's just kill one now. It was a Thought Scour. With Arena of Glory, I could take a very large amount of damage. And Delirium is online. I guess more accurately, this isn't an entire another combat step. You know, you are untapping 1 creature here. That's a good creature to untap. Oh my god, is it 2? Fuck me. Oh my god, Caleb, why? That was such a good turn. So he's holding back the second Fear of Missing Out. So I take 8 on this first attack, and then a second attack step happens, which is going to do this again. So then I'm going to take 5, followed by another 3 from a third attack step. And that DRC just hit me for 9. What an absolutely disgusting Arena of Glory turn. That was an incredible game for a 4-card hand, though. Like, I know that turn was very bad, but we weren't that far away from being something close to stable with a couple more cards. Like, maybe we can get there. Rest in Peace seems great. Prismatic Ending seems great. I don't think I get to play Wrath of the Skies. I think I am more interested in being a pseudo combo deck than I am as High Noon as a finisher. Like, I will win with one of my 3 copies of Hallowed Haunting eventually. Yeah, I don't think I'm interested in High Noon as a 7 mana removal option, and I don't know that even though my opponent has cantrips and a bunch of aggressively costed cards, I don't know that I need to mess around with High Noon. I think our CEO of ETBs brewed around this one, but this was really the star of the show today. I was very impressed by this card. I have Rest in Peace. Keep. I'm going to play Windswept Heath. If my opponent does not play a turn 1 creature, I can Lush Portico. If they do play a turn 1 creature, I maybe take 2 extra points of damage here for not playing basic planes. I think I'm fine with that exchange. Bobble? I guess the bobble that I saw like game 1, turn 1 should have been my clue in that Delirium was something that I potentially cared about. Boo. Yeah. Sure. And then we'll go ahead and Surveil. I don't need that extra land. Now Caleb can get information about what I am drawing. Take the redraw. And then I don't know how much it matters which one of my things I play. Destiny Spinner doesn't do a lot right now. Destiny Spinner maybe walks into removal spell. Maybe that's the argument to play Sterling Grove first, is that the Fatal Push type cards do less if I play Sterling Grove first. Yeah, I think I like playing Sterling Grove first, having thought about it for 0.2 seconds longer. Yes, that's fine. 3 card types in graveyard. Enchantress's Presence is pretty good. I think I'm just going to play that. Playing this mountain is a little awkward next turn. Playing mountain this turn might cut me off of playing multiple spells easily next turn. But I might be able to get away with it. So let's Presence. Sure. There's no instant in graveyard yet, so we have land, sorcery, artifact. I don't think I'm going to attack into a creature that could become a 3/3. I am perfectly happy with Destiny Spinner chilling in play. I think if I win, I am going to win by a lot. So draw 2, discard 2, threshold on attack, make an octopus. That's pretty cool. I've got a Path to Exile. So let's white, green, Sterling Grove. Yikes. Draw a card. Fine getting a basic here. Fetch. Let's not let my opponent create an octopus. I'm not super well prepared for that. No basic land. They're both in play. I can sack Sterling Grove to guarantee that I draw an enchantment. I might do so. I don't really want to do so. I would love my Destiny Spinner to not be targetable for the rest of this game. But I might need to just guarantee that I don't take a gajillion D. Which at this stage might be tough. So I can get a Leyline Binding to answer this. And I can make the Leyline Binding cost 1 mana. And then hopefully draw into more things that can answer the DRCs. Caleb, stop. Let's talk about this. I think we're just going to get bullied by a tier 1 deck here. So, Hallowed Haunting is interesting. I think it just needs to be Leyline Binding. I think I have to eat this, or it is just going to obliterate me over the course of a couple of turns. So, Dread is manifested. I draw Leyline Binding. I fetch to make it cast 1 mana. Grab Xander's Lounge. Leyline Binding, draw a card. Needs to be a hit. It is not a hit. So I answer the 5/5 that is going to obliterate me. Take 6, 7, 8-ish in the air. Not technically dead, but it's pretty bad. Yeah, if I have like one more turn worth of breathing room, I can maybe accomplish something meaningful. That's some shit. Yep. So now this just creates an 8/8 octopus that I also have to deal with. So, you know, I'm just gonna die. Not all at once, but it is very hard for me to string together enough removal spells to kill my opponent now. Because we just need literal perfect rips, and that is not going to do it. I can take out one of these and then die to the remainder. We are dead. Caleb's deck is super cool, though. Alright, I have a hand with a Sythis and some removal. I am hoping to hit literally any enchantment in about 3 looks, which in my Enchantress deck should be totally fine and good and not a problem. And then we just become the Joker if I don't hit any enchantments whatsoever, and I just draw land. Okay, I mean, minor complaints about what specific enchantment I drew, but, you know, it's an awkward cantrip if it has to be. Oh, we are Eldrazi-ing. Malevolent Rumble, sure. Springleaf Drum. Not used to seeing that one from Legacy standards. Oh, my opponent just takes the land. Got it. I mean, okay. That's a stomping ground that only cost me 1 life, kind of. You squint at it funny. I think I'm okay just pinging a spawn here. Opponent goes to 19. Do I need to leave open path? I think I can just cast multiple paths on my next turn. There's not Eye of Ugin in this format, so Glaring Fleshraker is slightly less scary. Keep the untapped Sythis. I really, wanted another enchantment. Nothing? This could just be a large Kozilek's command coming. Alright, there's Glaring Fleshraker. And Basking Brood Scale. I think this combos with like a Blade of the Bloodchiefer or something like that to go infinite. Fucking stop it with the copies of Sythis. Do not want. This one I think I need to do at sorcery speed because of Kozilek's command. I can probably wait on pathing this one though. Basic Forest. I think I will just shock this in and pass. Saga's scary value. Alright, no attacks. Passing turn. Let's... Oh, right, it's going to cost 1 because I have Sythis. Let's junk that. There are more forests still. This is X equals 6. That is happening. And for mana efficiency, I will probably just path this card still. Because the top of my deck will have a castable enchantment, right? Deck? Or on top. Fuck. How about you shuffle, though? Okay, so those cards are now totally random on top. Fuck you, deck. Piece of shit, deck. Alright. I've used my Surveil land already, so this is going to get my Xander's Lounge. And hopefully I'm not dead. Yep. So that I can have 6. Let's grab the Xander's Lounge. All I need is just a nice enchantment or 2 on top in a row, and I am just like totally fine and in this game. That's a new Kozilek's command. That sucks for me. All right, Sanctum Weaver. So, draw a card. Seal of Fire is great. Let's go maybe off Sacred Foundry. So Seal of Fire, draw another card. Seal of Fire, destroy Glaring Fleshraker. Then a land from my deck. No, One Ring was played. I think my opponent's still a clear favorite to win, even if the Kozilek's command just like takes out my Sythis and replaces itself mana-wise. That alone is very, very good. That's not even counting all the cards from the One Ring. I'm not pressuring my opponent's life total very well. And I don't have Blood Moon style Haymakers to just shut off all of my opponent's colorless mana production. So Solemnity is probably respectable here. 12 mana. I'm sure it'll be fine, folks. Nothing to worry about. Ooh, I guess Solemnity kind of fucks up Urza's Saga too, huh? That's cute. My opponent is having trouble casting something. Okay, it is a giant Kozilek's command for X equals 10. My opponent did not leave any green available. I don't know their deck well enough to know whether or not that's a mistake. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. Like, with 10 spawns, this many lands, a One Ring, and me running on empty, this is probably the point where I can just concede this one. But I don't really know some of the supporting cast of their deck, so I might just stay in this game until they actually kill me. 3 cards on top. Then a Temple Garden from the deck. I'm going to hold that until I have something to do, like an Enchantress effect. We're going to send a message here. Back for 0. I want to lose 2 to the One Ring. Urza's Saga is active, which presumably is finding Blade of the Blood Chief for combo with that Bonnie thing that I exiled earlier. Basking Brood Scale. Yeah, that thing. So I believe that I am just dead to that as of next turn. I could die to Glaring Fleshraker immediately. Oh, Walking Ballista's in here too. Solemnity hits some stuff over here. Sure. So much damage. Haywire Might. That's a really good thing to be aware of. Using some spawns for Walking Ballista. Yep. Alright. That was a pretty good turn. I just want to see my opponent fetch out the Blade of the Blood Chief to confirm that that's in the deck and that combos with Basking Brood Scale. I think it's like when a creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. When a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. Yeah, so this creates a loop. My opponent equips this, and then they can just like Walking Ballista kill me. That works too. But they can equip here, sacrifice a spawn, a creature dies, so they get a +1/+1 counter. But they've just got Walking Ballista ping and kill me on board, so like this is fine. We can move to the next game. But Solemnity is gonna fuck here. I don't know that there's enough mana production in my opponent's deck for Damping Sphere to actually be good. I think I want to be the combo deck? I don't know, the High Noons are like removal here. My opponent can sometimes string a bunch of stuff together in a meaningful way. The Medic ending seems too slow. Solemnity's great. I don't know that this is good enough. I might just play 2 copies of High Noon. Okay, the Sterling Groves don't do anything that is a proactive plan here. This plays a Solemnity somewhat early on. This is fine. So we can Lush Portico on 1, Sacred Foundry or Forest on 2, Sacred Foundry on 3. If I want to have like white and green, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, pass. We should, I guess, be expecting slightly slower starts from this deck than I do Legacy Eldrazi. So, Surveil, Seal of Fire. Sometimes that's good. I think we can do better on average, though. Yeah. So, Forest, Lush Portico, Utopia Sprawl, I'm white with that. 2 mana, Sanctum Weaver. Now we're just kind of missing some source of card advantage or a finisher. There's the Brood Scale. There's a Nature's Claim. Well, I guess I'm glad that that's not hitting my Solemnity. That's interesting. I don't think I care about it as of right now. So let's Solemnity, Drop tapped Sacred Foundry and pass. So now Urza Saga, not a problem. This, not a problem. One Ring, not a problem. There's... Damn it. Damn it. Sure. Rumble. And multiple Nature's Claim is brutal. Opponent takes Springleaf Drum and plays it. Oh, and there's more. A new Malevolent Rumble that can get a Blade of the Bloodchief. Yeah. I wonder if I lose this one or not. Playing out Hall of Heliod's Generosity last turn. Put Seal of Fire on top of my deck with these two, cast it with this, take this out. I guess I can try to eat a bunch of my opponent's mana with Leyline Binding here. There's the blade. When my opponent goes to equip it, I fire off Leyline Binding. Yep. Yeah. I guess I take this out because the Urza Saga just represents another blade next turn. Yeah, that's fine. There's a Saga token. So do I need Solemnity back? Like, is that worth my draw step? So that Blade of the Bloodchief can't combo, so that Walking Ballista doesn't do stuff, so another Urza Saga doesn't come out. I kind of just need to answer the construct tokens, I think. I think I'm going to take a random draw. I am a mana short of that being very cool. Just immediately nuke a construct token. So the construct tokens are going to be outside of range of High Noon. Boo. Fast turn. So now I think large Urza Saga construct tokens are just going to kill me. Fantastic. Yep. So the Haywire Might also just like wrecks my shit. Right? So how much does this cost to equip? 1? Yeah, aren't I just dead right now? So my opponent Haywire Mights this. Tapping Haywire Might for mana. Then 1 mana. Equip it to this. Sack a spawn, I die. But they didn't do that. Guess I can do this on my opponent's turn. Maybe they don't see it. Maybe I need to play like they don't see that. And take out a construct token here. Because if they don't see that, this removes an artifact. Okay, they saw something else though, unfortunately. So now the Leyline Binding does not successfully exile this. Oh, and there's more. Oh, is this just going to be a Kozilek's command that ends up killing me? Yeah, that's not great. So this construct is now going to be outside of range of High Noon, killing it. I'm taking 12 as of right now. I could take 3 more damage. Seal of Fire not worth getting back. Solemnity not worth getting back. That wasn't worth getting back. Yeah, so I can nuke a construct. And then I'm just going to die to this other construct pretty much immediately. I'm fine throwing in the towel there. And we can call it a league. We put a couple of wins on the board. I think we're onto something here, though. So when I compare this to the initial deck list that I was sent, I like this a lot. I think I want a 4th copy of this card. If there are more modern legal 1-mana accelerator enchantments, I want more of those as well. I don't know if there are. I don't know the modern card pool super well. But like if I can go more 1-mana accelerators, that would be great. If I don't need to be in red or High Noon, I can play snow-covered basics. And I think Chain to the Rocks is modern legal. That can be another Path to Exile that actually just cantrips off Sythis and Enchantress's presence. And then all of a sudden I feel like we have a pretty real looking deck. High Noon maybe is a sideboard card where if your opponent just kind of loses to High Noon, it's a cantripping card that can turn into a finisher later. Whether or not that is worth it for the extra mana over Deafening Silence, I don't know that I can say based on format experience. My sideboard felt okay. I don't know that I feel good about Wrath of the Skies. That might be there for a specific matchup where it's necessary. Like maybe you play against Energy, and if you can't answer Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride nonsense hyper efficiently, you just lose. Maybe that just has to be there. If I stay in red, maybe we can make Blood Moon work. It's a little weird trying to make Blood Moon work alongside Leyline Binding, though. That's, like, not perfect. Are we willing to run more copies of Rest in Peace, or maybe even more copies of Solemnity? Those cards were both interesting throughout the league. I'm gonna overall give this one a thumbs up. I had a lot of fun playing this. I think this is a tough deck to play. There is a lot of air quotes math for what colors you leave open on a Sythis draw, and that's compounded by the fact that like you're a primarily 3-color deck where you do have some colorless lands and some like white cards, some green-white cards. Like there are some tricky decisions. Sanctum Weaver ended up being really good once we had some payoff going. That card probably overperformed in this league. I don't know the Modern Enchantress card pool well enough to know whether or not you can build this deck without Leyline Binding and like massively simplify your mana base. I don't know how many Chain to the Rock style cards exist at like 1 or 2 mana that can do a similar thing to what Leyline Binding does. But thumbs up here. This was a massive improvement over the initial deck list, and well done in designing this one. Folks, if you need your high noons or anything else, please consider checking out my sponsor. Use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on the way out. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!